for that reason alone, without any emotion, without any thought, I think you just look at this game on paper, and I feel the 1 point with KC is a bargain, win or lose. I feel they come in much hungrier, having the close game 2 weeks ago that they won, and having the game that they were literally was taken out of their hands by the Raiders. I think they come in hungry this week, and that's something they haven't really been. They've been coasting, and now they're hungry, and I think a hungry KC team beats this Denver team.
Well, Josh McDaniel, I'll tell you, he's on the hot seat, one of many NFL coaches. We saw the axe fall on Wade Phillips last week for good reason, but after that 6-0 start last year, the Broncos have lost 14 of their last 18 games, and they've only covered in 5 of those 18. They've only won and covered twice in their last 9 home games. The dynamic here in terms of the stats matchup is this. Kansas City, #1 running team in the NFL. I mean, by far, this is a team that's averaging like 180 yards a game and 5 yards per
arguably
carry.
The best running game in the league.
Right, and now you got a Denver defense that comes in here ranked 31st in the league. The only team that's worse at stopping the run is the Buffalo Bills. They're giving up 155 yards a game, 4.6 yards per carry. But I will caution you, the Oakland Raiders couldn't stop the run either. And last week they held Jamal Charles and Thomas Jones to 85 total yards on 29 carries. For some reason, KC lost its identity last week. Matt Castle had a great game, but they're throwing the ball. And I'm thinking, when you have a suspect defense and you're playing a darn hot team in Oakland, why are you not running the ball nonstop with the #1 rushing attack? Try to take time off the clock.
Yeah, it's a good argument. Also, you can make the argument that if KC just held on to the ball, they could have won that game last week. I mean, there were so many different situations where the Raider receivers literally snatched the ball out of the defender's hands, and I just think that the Raiders are a different team now than they were 3 weeks ago. I think they're one of the hottest teams. I kind of could see KC losing. I can't see KC losing to Denver.
Speaking of the Denver-Kansas City game, we mentioned that the Broncos are coming off a bye because they played at Wembley Stadium in London 2 Sundays ago against San Francisco, a game the 49ers won. 49ers in that game gave a start to Troy Smith, who I'm not sure if he had the playbook for more than a week and a half, but he played some great ball once he got acclimated. I mean, completed 63% of his passes in the game, threw for almost 200 yards, and also scored 2 touchdowns or threw for 2 touchdown passes in that game. I thought it was a gutsy move by Mike Singletary, another guy on the hot seat, to bypass David Carr once Alex Smith got hurt and go to Troy Smith. But clearly, he gave this team a lift. And now you have them at home. The line has moved from like 4.5, 5 up to 6 points here against a St. Louis team that has been money in the bank at home with Sam Bradford. But on the road, another story. I mean, this is a team that went to Detroit earlier this season and got smacked around. So I personally think that this is another spot where you have to put a little faith in the 49ers.
Yeah, I think that also, I think both of these teams are going to flex their defensive muscle. I look at this total of 38.5 points, and it really, again, screams out under to me. I mean, I give St. Louis a little bit of the advantage at the quarterback position, but like you said, San Fran certainly is looking up with their new guy. 38.5 points, too many points for me. I'm going under the total here.
Yeah, neither one of these teams are going to set world records here in terms of scoring. I can certainly see the under in that contest. 7 of the last 8 games in this series have stayed under the total, and the Rams are 6-2 under on the year as well. The next game on the board, oh my gosh, what a dog game. I mean, Seattle and Arizona. The good news for the Seahawks is the Giants are no longer at Quest Field. The other bit of good news is that Matt Hasselbeck is expected to be starting here today, and you certainly saw that Charlie Whitehurst, he didn't quite perform as well as he did in that preseason game where he set the world on fire last week against a real defense in a real regular season game. This Seattle team has really been horrendous on the road, except that they upset Chicago. I think it was 23-20, won that game outright. And
they're all banged up on their offensive line and their defensive line. Arizona played great last week. I think Arizona's finally coming out of everybody knows they're not the same team as they were last year without Warner. I think they finally know it. I think they've adjusted to it. They're ready to move forward. We talked about a first half wager earlier in the show. I also like Arizona here in the first half, laying 1.5 instead of 3.5. I'm hoping that Hasselbeck comes in a little rusty and that it takes him a quarter and a half to really get going. And by that time, too late to cover the first half. Seattle may have a shot to win the game in the second half, but by that time, my ticket will be cashed already. I'll be at the pool.
And it's a revenge game as well for Arizona because they lost a few weeks ago at Seattle 22-10, but really they gift-wrapped that game for the Seahawks. 5 turnovers by the Arizona offense in that game. So that really gave the game to Seattle. A couple of quick reminders, guys. Here at the bottom of the screen, you are seeing a coupon code being flashed repeatedly. You enter that coupon code at PickNation.com in your shopping cart upon checkout. You will save $30 off any purchase you make today. This coupon is only good today, so make sure you use it here. It expires when Sunday's night game between Pittsburgh and New England kicks off. Once again, that's $30 off your purchase today, whether you buy my picks or Steve's picks or anybody's picks at the site, you save $30. And remember, you can catch this show in its entirety, the first half hour, the second half hour here, if you missed any of it, at PickNation.com anytime you want. Steve, the last late afternoon game, Dallas and the Giants. Jason Garrett, the coach in waiting, finally gets to prove that he probably isn't worth waiting for.
Right.
They got rid of Wade Phillips, and they gave you Jason Garrett. I mean, hey, wasn't Jason calling all the signals? He's been the offensive coordinator the last 2 years. I mean, he's not going to make this defense get any better, and that's been the problem. Last year, Cowboys gave up an NFC low, like 15.1 points per game. This year, they're giving up like an NFC worst, almost 27 points a game. But what disturbed me most about the Cowboys is they showed no heart last week against Green Bay. I mean, it was like they came out, they rolled over, they played dead. We should have shot them before they got off the plane. It was awful.
You know what really bothers me about the Cowboys is you hear the same thing from handicappers and fans all over the country. They got so much talent, such a misuse of talent. Where's the talent?
Yes.
Where is the talent?
It's not on defense.
Right, I think they're completely talentless. I mean, Romo, it was a mercy killing the Giants took him out the last time they played. He was finished. Now he can watch from the sidelines. It's a much better place. It's a much safer place for Romo. I think that what's going to change this week with this game that, from the last time they played. The last time the Giants beat them up. They literally, it was like a street fight. They were taking elbows to their face and beating them up. I don't think anything happens differently this time. I think the Giants win by a landslide. Don't be scared to lay the 14. If the bookmakers are coming out with a spread of 14, they're not idiots.
No, and
they
listen,
know what they're doing.
And a lot of people out there will say, oh, the Giants might get caught looking ahead to the Eagles game next week. Are you kidding me? This is a division game. There is no love lost between these two teams.
That's exactly
and the
right.
Giants have scored 41, 33, and 31 points in winning the last 3 in this series, and they have won and covered 5 of the last 6 in the series. I mean, there's a reason Dallas is 1-7 straight up and against the spread this year, and as you said, they didn't bring all new players into this game. I mean, it's not going to change. I think this is the biggest line on the board, but it's a reason that it's the biggest line on the board. And you've got a Giants team that's won 5 in a row and covered 4 of them, so go ahead and lay the points. And don't tell me you're buying a half point on 14.
Please.
Nobody does that in this business. I've seen some handicappers do that.
And
some
games
big
don't land on 14. So you don't have to worry
that's
about
a
that.
number. Again, only with so many games today, right around 3 points, 7 of the 12 on the board. Keep this in mind. I think it's imperative that you always buy down the half point or buy up the half point when the line crosses 3, 4, 7, sometimes 10, but otherwise you just forget about it, guys. So we have run down every single game on the board. Remember, guys, you can catch the show in its entirety over at PickNation.com. And again, at the bottom of the screen here, you see the coupon code. It's going to save you $30 off any purchase you see at the site. I mean, we're giving you free money, guys, so you might as well take advantage of it. I am Al DeMarco, along with Steve Budin. Every single Sunday, we're joining you here, Fox Sports TV across the country.
Cleveland,
Philadelphia, yes, and nationally
Las Vegas.
here on PickNation.com.